Pacifica Christian High School. Never heard of it. Not only is this a common response that we receive 99% of the time, but this was my first reaction when I heard that my older brother This was my first reaction when I heard that my older brother Isaiah was going to attend. Later, I found out that he was actually part of the class who was founding it. I was so confused. Who starts high school as a freshman? Fast forward a few years later, I was about to make my final decision to attend Pacifica. And I remember talking to my parents frequently about it. At one point, my dad offered that I could attend the other Pacifica high school, which was a public school right next to my house, in order that in return, I can get my dream car, which was a Camaro. Because it would be far cheaper to go get a Camaro than attend Pacifica for the next 4 years. I'm still not sure if he was kidding or not. But I already knew I had to go to Pacifica. I had to. The biggest reason why was because I wanted to be part of a family. During my oldest brother's freshman year at Pacifica, he was on the basketball team before we were any good. Isaiah was the best player on the team. At the first Pacifica gathering, there was a basketball game, and my brother was sick with a fever and was extremely nauseous. In spite of this, he showed up to the game to be there for his team. And as we parked and got out of our truck, my brother was welcomed by the whole campus with roaring applause and cheering. Because everyone thought he would stay home because he was sick. So they were overjoyed to see him. I remember at that moment, I wanted to be a part of a school like that, a family. So when I walked onto our tiny little campus for the first time, I was overwhelmed by the love and joy I saw there. I was greeted with a lot of warm smiles, hello, my name is, and a lot of, hey, are you Isaiah's brother? In addition to this, Pacifica had also introduced me to a new concept. Teachers can be really awesome. I never thought I would make friendships with people 20 years older than me. For example, I had the privilege to have Reverend Butler as my advisory group for during my time at Pacifica. And my presumption of him was that he was a very studious and reverent person, no pun intended, and that he was more of a person I could only learn from, rather than a friend and a mentor I could have fun with. I was very quickly proven wrong. One of my favorite moments with Reverend Butler was at the last all-school retreat, when he and one of my good friends, Will McGinnis, were dueling a pair of one of my classmates in foosball. Butler had performed an amazing athletic block, an overcomplicated but really awesome series of passes that set Will up perfectly to score. And then as Will was giving the final blow, I just hear Butler shout, "Punch it, Chewy!" Bam! Score! And we all stopped playing foosball with Butler. It was one of the best moments of my life. The teachers at Pacifica more than just cared about their students. They loved their students through their actions rather than their words. A little over 2 years ago, during my sophomore year, I had just lost my grandmother to cancer, which was the third time she had to battle it in the span of 5 years. There was a lot of people who I knew who came up to me and said, "I'm so sorry for your loss." But at Pacifica, it was completely different. The day my grandmother died, I found out during my theater class, which immediately destroyed my mood. My theater teacher, Mrs. Ward, noticed. And at the end of class, she came up to me and asked if I was doing okay. I had told her that my grandmother had died. And without question or hesitation, she embraced me with a warm hug, which almost made me cry. And then she insisted on ordering a very large delivery of pizzas to my family, and we're a family of 8, so like a huge delivery, which made me feel so much better because it was the best gluten-free pizza I'd ever tasted. It made my Friday night feel so normal. My family and I were able to enjoy a December night not too long before Christmas, eating pizza, watching Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and laughing with each other, all because of a silly little pizza. Mrs. Ward and Reverend Butler are not the exception, though, to the kindness and love shared by teachers to their students. Every other teacher at the school, and even the coaches, actively pursue and follow up with their students who need their help for school and life, rather than wait for the students to come up to them. They eat lunch with us, they make us laugh, become our best friends. Being friends with your teachers. Who thought that was the thing? I never did. Though all this seems so small and simple, a pizza making you laugh, it was that kind of love, that not just of words, but of action, that made Pacifica special for me. A contagious love that rubbed off on me in how I think and live towards others. God graciously gifted me with a family at Pacifica. One that taught me what it meant to be Christ-like and how I live and care for others. Pacifica is a family that loved me in spite of all my flaws, as Christ does for me. In addition to this love, I'd never been challenged with answering life's biggest questions. For example, at freshman year, they decided it was a great idea to start off our first class discussion asking, what is the meaning of life? Who asked a freshman that? They also asked, like, what is the good life and what is happiness? I'm like, I don't know. To the point where we become seniors and we're asked, like, what does it truly mean to be human? Does human life have a purpose or a telos? And as our last discussion, which was yesterday for me, how then shall we live, reflecting on the past 4 years of our education? This led me to having a better understanding of Christ and who he was and who he is. Because it was by knowing him through my teachers that I was enabled to answer these complicated questions. And I wouldn't have understood who Christ was if it wasn't for all the old books and we had to read and discuss about. From Augustine's Confessions to C.S. Lewis's A Grief Observed, we've come a long way from being very discomforted or very awkward of being shy freshmen, trying to talk to each other in Socratic discussions about these complicated books, to now where we're mature young adults who can wrestle with these concepts within those books, and even scripture, which is the foundation of our learning. Though I have attended Pacifica for 4 years, it has influenced me for 6. From the moment my brother was welcomed by applause and cheering to my very last day of school, again, which was yesterday. My time at Pacifica has been an adventurous race with a lot of twists and turns. But luckily, I had a family who ran it along with me. We asked hard questions in community, and as a result, I am walking away with an excellent foundation for the rest of my life. A foundation built on the solid rock that is Christ and his love, which has taught me how to lay aside every weight and every sin in order to diligently run that race before me, so that I may obtain the prize, which is a crown. In other words, I made a great decision choosing Pacifica over that Camaro. Thank you. Now, will you please welcoming a brother of mine who I have so much love and mad respect for, Dr. E. Balmer.